time again for another installment of the basics, and today I'm moving back over to the X-Files CCG. As you know, I've spent a lot of time in the last few episodes talking about the Star Trek CCG, but I want to go over one card type in the X-Files CCG with you, and that is the Agents. Possibly the most important card in the game, because it's the Agents that help you investigate the sites and use the equipment. That way you can find out what your opponent's X-File card is. So let's get into it. So as you're progressing through your game of the X-Files CCG, you have sites out, and you're deploying your agents to investigate these sites, pick up clues, occasionally delve into combat, giving them equipment necessary to get the clues you need to figure out what your opponent's X-File card is. Your agents are extremely important, as I'm going to use Agent Scully here to show you, as they have many attributes which help you search for clues and go over the sites. So you have your behavioral attribute, criminal investigation, evidence collection, medical, and in Scully's case, because in the canon of the show she's an actual medical doctor first, she has a medical attribute of 4, which is pretty high for an agent. Observation of 2, occult investigation as 1. That number would be higher on a agent such as Agent Mulder. Sciences, long-range combat, close-range combat, health, and others. Now, there are different attributes on different agents. They don't all have the same thing. As you can see here, Agent Krychek has a higher health, but he does not have the occult investigation attribute. If I move over to Inspector Phoebe Green, she has a lot lower numbers across the board, but she has great health, and her criminal investigation is 3, which is pretty damn good. It's actually higher than Scully's. You have to take this into consideration when you're choosing the agents that are going to represent your deck when you're investigating your opponent during the game. Normally, the recommended number of agents to have in your draw deck is about 4. I would say put that to 5 or 6, because you want to have a couple agents left in your deck as reserve in case something happens, because you just know there's going to be a lot of combat cards and adversary cards thrown down, so you have to be prepared for that. But when you choose your agents for your deck, choose well. Don't just choose the big names. Check out their attributes closely, because that'll determine how easy the game is for you. Now, there are arguments out there from other players who say you should have a lot more agents than 4, 5, or 6 in your deck, maybe closer to 10 in case something happens. I don't agree with that, only because if you have too many agents in your deck, all you're doing is bringing out additional agents, but you're not bringing out enough equipment to use during the investigation of the sites. So personally, as I mentioned earlier, between 4 and 6 agents, 7 maximum, but 6 should be sufficient. Have more equipment cards available for your agents. It makes their job easier. It makes you get closer to the truth of your opponent's X-File card. That's all for today's show. Thanks for tuning in.